Welcome to Sunday Science again, everybody. Just to give everyone's a heads up, since it's now getting into the depth of gardening time, expect to see us on Monday evenings as opposed to Sunday. It's just a little bit too much to take care of everything in the garden and do a show at the same rate, so just plan on the show generally being on Mondays throughout the summer and the growing season. Obviously, that's a busy time for those of us in Colorado. Ha ha ha. Today we have a special guest that I'm sure many of you are familiar with. Mr. Hillel Finder has joined us today to go over what sounds like a pretty awesome trip and round of experiments that he's going to be doing. So, being part of the Backyard Science group, it felt only right to invite Hillel onto the show. So, please welcome Hillel, everybody.
Hey, welcome!
Yeah.
Hey, Hill.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, and thanks about the compliments about my whirlpool eyes. That was astonishing.
Yeah. Like the fountains of the deep.
Very
Anyway.
awesome.
Also, by the way, just change the name to Monday Science. Problem solved.
Yeah, but
There
then
we go.
people would get upset
They'll
when
never
we
know
have it on.
who would hit them.
People would get upset when we have it on Thursday. Then it's just better to leave it at the current level of confusion.
Yeah, too real, man.
At least Monday and Sunday kind of sound close enough and are physically almost like a thing that could be close to one another.
Indeed.
Yeah.
They're close on paper.
They're only like 6 days apart.
Right? Well, Hillel, would you like to let us know about the shenanigans that you were going to get yourself involved with?
Yeah, so later this month, well, first of all, I should start with, many of you probably know, Nathan Oakley and Anthony Riley have really gotten themselves up in a tizzy about one of their latest pet projects, which has been taking pictures of the Isle of Man from St. Bees in the United Kingdom. So, which St. Bees is this small coastal area, which apparently just looks nice, has a nice view, doesn't seem especially special. It's just where they happen to go, and they've taken a couple pictures, some panoramas, mainly from a very high point at the beach, but also recently from they took a short video from the from down, pretty close to the water. So all that got me interested, and I'm actually, so now as it stands, I'm going to the UK myself, and while there I said, what the hell, I'll so I'm making a pit stop at St. Bees while I'm there, and I figured, well, I'm in the area, so may as well not just go there and reminisce about all the idiots who have been here in the past, but to make a science of it, and do some stuff and make some of the observations that I wish that Anthony and Nathan had done, and if they had, we wouldn't be having so much contention over them now.
Very excellent. I can only presume your methods of documentation are far more concise than that of our you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. So, I hope to be similar to. I really, what I'm doing is, I'm mainly going to be modeling it, or at least partially, off of the work that Soundly has done, because I think he's done a very good job of going out to a particular place and doing very comprehensive observations, of a particular phenomenon or place. So, his area has been in Louisiana and taking pictures over Lake Pontchartrain. But so that's what I've kind of modeled it off. I've also going to try to model the transparency that he's had during and after the process, and before the process of his method, his methodology, and his equipment, and where he was and what he did to get the pictures that he did. So
Very awesome. I
afterwards,
do agree. Soundly has done quite a phenomenal job in his documentation.
yeah, really. So what I was going somewhere with that sentence, but I'm going to go somewhere else instead. Because I forgot where I was going initially. But anyway, what I hope basically what I'm going to be doing for the most part in a simplified way is taking a lot of panoramic shots and also zoom shots as I go up and down the beach. So as I go from high altitude down, probably start up in a very high altitude. I think it's something like 100 or so feet, and then slowly work my way down until I'm, say, only maybe 5 feet off the water, and take a panoramic shot every, I'm not quite sure, but every little ways down the beach. First of all, take panoramic shots and also more zoomed in images with my truth detector P900 camera.
Oh, I'm so glad that you have a truth detector.
That's
I know,
handy.
I know.
Good thing that
It makes everything so much better for this in particular. So basically, a panoramic shot and a zoomed in shot at each location, and the zoomed ones are going to be pretty close in, but then I plan to take a series of them so that they can later be stitched together to make a larger, a slightly more detailed panoramic.
Oh, does that mean that you're going to use CGI, Hill?
Oh my!
It's a composite.
Composite. See, but NASA photos are not real.
It's actually an image that's real. It's just multiple images stitched together.
Oh, good. You know what a composite is? Wow,
Indeed.
that's awesome.
There are those who do
But
not.
anyway, so I plan to. So first of all, it's those things, and as I work my way down, I'm also going to be using a electronic theodolite, which I have on my phone, and a manual kind of clinometer, which I'm working on making myself right now. So that way I can measure there's the angle of elevation of the peaks of the mountain, the azimuths of the extremities of the mountain to see where it ends. Because at one point there was a debate on about Anthony's footage about what land was being seen. For one point, he thought he was seeing Ireland or Scotland, and part of that contention came from exactly where he was looking and the exact azimuth of those of where he was looking. So I really want to try to put in as much data into this as possible, because something that has always annoyed me about, because I've been keeping up with in particular Anthony's observations for quite a while now, probably a year and a half, ever since Red actually introduced me to him when he did one of his live debunkings, and ever since then I've kept up with Anthony, and I've seen all of his observations, and his I really do not like his methodology. He basically goes out to a place and takes a picture, and then comes back and makes claims about the picture, not having taking in as little data at the place as possible, and then maybe later going back to it and trying to find some of that data, although he may not even be in the same place, or that sort of thing. So what I want to do is I want to try to get as much data at once, from one place, and from, because obviously I can't go back. So I need to try to do it all at once to make sure I get all that, that kind of information that I can use to make a case afterwards.
Okay,
very awesome. Looks like you have this very well thought out and planned. This is really cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Why does that not surprise me, Andy? Hill's kind of famous for that. Anyway, Hill, I wanted to mention first, sound check. Someone in the public chat, please tell me my audio is audible.
Oh, please! I don't want to. That was a mess.
Oh, that was just disastrous. But anyway, you have a question too, actually, in the public chat. TJ.
Oh boy.
TJ wants to know, how about time lapse? I grow weary of Nathan's guests panning and zooming all over the place with their shaky footage. Any possibility?
Yes. So I definitely, I've been very aware of that. So I want to try to, initially I want to, my main goal is to get as much footage from as close to the same time as possible, so that, conditions don't change too much, because I don't want that to be a big factor. But then later, if I have more time than I think I will. But if I have extra time, then I'm going to take time-lapse footage from a high elevation, which is probably, like I said, the 100-odd one, and then also from the low elevation at the same time. Or obviously I can't do it at the same time because I'm only me with one camera. But I'd pick one or the other depending, I guess, on conditions or how I'm feeling, and take a time lapse from there. But generally, I don't think it'll have the time. I'll have the time for a time lapse, unfortunately. But if I can, I'll see what I can do.
All right.
Anyway, what I was talking about before was with the these theodolites. So first of all, I have this app on my phone, which tomorrow probably, which was also suggested to me, is to actually I need to test these to make sure that they're accurate. And my methodology for doing that is going to be to basically put it on a tripod and set it to level, and then go across a flat room, and then basically hold up a tape measure, and then see where the tape measure hits across where the level is according to the phone on the tape measure, and that should be the same height as the theodolite itself because of parallel lines.
Indeed.
So if it is, then I know that the theodolite is pretty accurate, and that I don't need to make a huge adjustment, so it's not like 5 or so degrees off. But if I do need to make that adjustment, then I will.
I do have to ask, personally, I've been using a Pocket Transit as my digital theodolite. Which one are you using by chance?
I'm not. It's just called theodolite. If you've seen, from what I've seen, mainly I picked this one because it's the one that I've seen other people use. I know, for example, I've seen first of all Anthony, and then I think I've seen I don't remember, but I've seen other people use this one, so I was somewhat familiar with the layout and what it looked like and where the information was and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I made, what was it called again? That one you mentioned?
Pocket Transit.
Yeah. I may look into that later. Thanks.
I've found it to be, it's very powerful.
What sort of information does it give you?
Application. Let's see. Let me go ahead and open it up right now. So I've, general bearing as far as any sort of a compass is concerned, and it blows me away how sensitive some of the internal sensors in a smartphone actually are, that I can bounce around by a degree with the thing. But so it has basic compass orientation, and then it has traditional theodolite. It allows you to track and document all sorts of different projects that you're utilizing it with. And then it has a stereo net that I have not tried doing anything with because it kind of makes me feel like I might be hallucinating, and that doesn't make me feel good.
Does it look kind of like does the face of it kind of look like a compass?
The first portion of the app that opens does appear to just be a compass.
Okay, because I'm looking for it right now, and I'm not sure if the one you're talking about is the one I'm looking at.
Yes, and it has has my lat and long down to 6 decimal places, which is more accurate than any of my telescope tracking software even runs on. So it's been a lot of fun to utilize.
Okay.
And just kind of mess around with as your immediate GPS for wherever it is that you happen to be situated. Very, very high resolution, very fine detail.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised it doesn't have this is under construction next to you.
Yeah, but something I like about the theodolite one I currently have is it lets you it basically operates through your camera and lets you take pictures through it, which is very nice, especially for it catalogs the exact day and time, and it also has on screen when you take the picture, it has the azimuth, the elevation, also the tilt, not just forwards and backwards but left and right as well. Also the GPS position and the elevation, which is all very nice.
Absolutely.
So like the stuff I said about the transparency. So
yeah, I may have to take a look at that one. My theodolite does. I'm not sure if it has a way to do taking pictures. That might be part of the start a project, but I have not really messed with that myself. Being in Colorado, of course, when people try and sit down and do the whole horizon rises to your eye level, I'm like, well, I'm looking to the east, and the horizon looks like it's at my feet. I'm looking to the west; it's about 1,000 feet above me. So I've always just laughed at that nonsense, but it's fun sitting down and, I'm on lunch at work, might as well. Let's play around.
And something nice is that I realize that this is electronic. It's a phone, but it's still capable of being off. So I also, to that end, have a home. I'm currently creating a homemade clinometer. So I get it's I'm not exactly sure, but it's either going to be binoculars or a telescope's sight attached to a level, and then attached to a protractor with a string on it. So if I look through it and I aim it at something, then it will tell me the angle of elevation of whatever it is I'm looking at.
Nice, very awesome.
And along with that, I'm going to be using basically printing out a picture of a 360-degree protractor and then putting a stick in the middle. And I'm going to set up the azimuths by basically going to SunCalc, probably, and then basically looking at the azimuth of the sun, and then using the stick to cast a shadow on the protractor, I'm going to set it up correctly to make sure that the azimuths are right.
Very awesome.
And then and then go from there. And its point, I'll catalog that a little bit, but its main job is to make sure that my the electronic one isn't, tens of degrees off or something like that.
Indeed.
It's more to double check my work.
Absolutely. One of the things that I think is really awesome about the way that you're approaching this is it's kind of stepping back in time to more early observational science, where you don't need the smartphone technology. You don't need a lot of things. You can have a shadow cast on a protractor. You can have a sextant. You don't even need a sextant.
Yeah,
but it would be amazing to have one.
Yeah, I'm basically reinventing the sextant.
Yeah, it's going back to early observational science of, let's just actually look around at stuff. It's, I don't know, sometimes I think that's a lot of fun. I've sat down and, redone the double slit experiment. I've, lots of cool stuff, lots of fun stuff. I've always enjoyed doing it, and it's really awesome to see a lot of other people getting out there and actually doing that, because there is tons of, it's all repeatable, and it's all doable at a very low cost, and it's a lot of fun to go and do.
Yeah.
And
so what basically, as I said really quickly, is that the main. So what I'm doing at each of these points as I'm walking down this beach is taking a panoramic shot with my P900 and probably with my phone as well, and then a zoom shot, and then doing these measurements with the theodolites and the clinometer. So basically, I'm going to be looking for the angular size of the targets, like I said, the outer extremities of the mountains themselves, and then also looking for angle of elevation. And
now you are talking about angular size in linear feet, right?
Oh yeah, of course. What else would it be in?
I don't think everyone in the audience.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. They don't want to be in on this joke.
All right, fine.
Hello.
Inside joke.
Oh, guess who has joined us?
So this is Scientist Mel.
Do I detect Scientist Mel?
Yes, this is, and so you have like a dial-in number. I was gonna call and pretend to be somebody else, but I guess it doesn't work. No. I was gonna prank call you and ask if your refrigerator is running.
I knew it had to be one or two people, and actually, this is a great test. This is the first test. We had so many things going on, I didn't even think to ask somebody to test it. This is the first successful test of our dial-in line for this, so this is great.
Yay!
But seriously, is your refrigerator running?
Though? Is it running?
Actually, is it running?
Oddly enough, it is.
You better go catch it.
All right. What do I do with what do I do about Prince Edward's in a can? Anyway.
That's right, Prince Edward in a can. I am that person. So I was like, oh, you have this dial-in thing. I want to try it. And so I thought I would try to be anonymous, but apparently That doesn't work so great. It seems people know who I am sometimes.
Well, in this case, you come up in the Hangout just as an obfuscated phone number, so we know it's a dial-in, and we can tell if more than one person is dialing in. But it doesn't give the full number or identification. So yeah, you could have pranked us.
I could have. Well, see, I told on myself. I didn't do a good job at being a prankster.
All right, everybody, forget that you heard anything of Scientist Mel, and we'll try this all over again. Oh look! Oh look! We have a caller.
Welcome,
Hi,
caller.
is your refrigerator running?
Why, yes, yes, it is.
You better go catch it.
Oh my! All right. Well,
see, it doesn't work so well the second time around. Now that everybody knows it, it's
no.
just okay.
But anyway, but I do thank you for this is the first test and a successful test of the dial-in feature for this. So we're going to be able in the future, if somebody has a question or wants to talk, we're going to be able to shoot them a number, and they can join in as well. So that's kind of cool.
That is
Did
fantastic.
something kind of scientific happen on Science Sunday? On Monday?
Monday?
Yes, on Science Sunday on Monday, something scientific-ish happened. Yes.
Something
All
right.
scientific happened on Science Sunday on Monday?
Indeed.
Seems to be the case.
It's not really Monday if it's science, right? We can
That's-
just pretend it's Sunday again.
Well, it's actually we could do it all by star date.
It took a long time to upload.
Yeah.
The Windows 10 update that screwed up everything also slowed down universal download speeds.
I was when I put out the announcement for this on Twitter, I was criticized for screwing with the time-space continuum.
Uh-oh.
I'm in trouble. Anyway,
Are you a Q?
Yeah, caught. Damn it! Not supposed to be.
I did not
catchable.
mean to completely just crash your party, but
Well, it's
my
kind of hard.
internet is weird, so I was like, oh, a new thing. I must try it because scientist. So
See, this is science. The built-in curiosity that knowing if and how things work is very important.
and it was
Indeed.
also important to find out whether or not I could prank you, but I ruined that experiment entirely by
You've
telling
learned you
on
have the
myself.
capacity.
I do have the capacity. Now I have to do it in different accents.
Yeah,
I am so looking forward to that.
Accents.
yeah, I suspect we would never recognize the general happiness that comes across when Mel joins a call. You could use a voice changer; we'd still know.
Hey,
Hello,
can you make
everyone.
yourself
This
sound
is
like an
this
angry
is
British
not
person?
scientist Mel.
There you go. If you started out by saying you're not you, then you'll probably do okay. All
You
right,
would totally be fooled by that. You totally would. Just like you.
no doubt. All righty. So, Hill. So, Hill, you gave us a rundown on Did you give us a rundown on all of the equipment you'll be bringing? You mentioned.
No, I did not. I
would
haven't
you like
quite
to?
worked it out myself yet. But as far as I know, I'm going to be bringing a P900, a tripod, my phone, whatever the instruments are that make up my clinometer thing, which is probably going to be a set of binoculars, a level, a protractor, and a weight on a string. Some small, thin, flat thing, and a printed out 3D protractor with a stick. And as far as I know, that's it.
Okay, so you're expecting what they call enhanced interrogation at airport security? That's what you're telling us?
To walk till you see you naked machine 4 times and then get a pat down anyway, or is that just me?
Yeah. It just seems
2 words: checked luggage.
Checked look great.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay
Yes.
because they do and they should occasionally do when they see funkiness in the bags, do searches of that, which is good. But they always leave you a little note after, so you know it wasn't some thief rifling your belongings.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, they
Really, I
always
think
go
the only
through my
thing
luggage every time I go to London. It's annoying.
That
I almost
happened-
want to put a note in there and say, could you please take pictures of yourself with my stuff and put them in here?
Well, to their
Little Polaroids.
To their credit,
worst-
Polaroids.
when that
The
happens,
worst is when your workplace gets raided by customs.
Hmm.
Oh, that is horrible.
Doesn't sound like a lot of fun.
absolutely horrible. And there isn't a stone unturned when customs comes in. And no, it was not my business by any means. It was a thing that happened to me young in my career.
Now, when you say not your business, do you mean you did not own the company, or did you mean, none of my business, I'm out of here?
No. Yes.
Why not both?
Customs was never called on the business that I ran and operated for 10 years. It was a company I worked for prior to that, and they had been illegally importing components for something and got in trouble.
Well, okay then. But
the
only time any of my luggage was ever, opened up in, I don't know if it was at the origin or the destination, was when I was coming back from a conference, and that year, for God only knows what reason, it was popular for, how there's always giveaways, different companies always get, the trend that year was water bottles. And water bottles, okay, that's sort of, makes a little sense. What are they normally made of? Plastic. Well, this one year, it was the trend, it was popular to make them out of spun aluminum. So it looked like I had a suitcase full of spun aluminum cylinders. So, Homeland Security, you did exactly the right thing. If you see what looks like a bunch of cylinders in a suitcase, you do just what you did to mine, open it up, and make sure they're water bottles and not something else. So,
yep,
good job, guys. I was actually pleased when I got everything, and nothing was all disheveled. And when I opened it up, and there's the little note in there, because they leave you a nice little letter, explaining and all that kind of thing. It's like, good job.
They were water bottles.
Good job, guys. Nice catch. I feel safer flying now.
Yeah, when they started the whole, volume of a water bottle you were allowed to have, I was on my way to Hawaii, actually. And I was in Seattle, and I was, holy crap, I've got to get onto the plane. Why am I getting held up by TSA? I don't understand what's going on. And they wouldn't open my bag. They just scanned it a few times. They're like, we can't let this through. What's in your bag? It was, there's nothing on X-ray. I don't know what could be going on. Yeah, it was the volume of water in a water bottle I forgot that I had stuck in my bag when I left my hotel in the morning. It held me up for like half an hour.
That'll do it.
It's unbelievable.
That's why before you go on a plane, you just need to drink everything that you can see. If it's a water bottle, you drink it.
Now, why would you say something like that to us, Hill? You've been on movie nights. Why would you say drink everything?
No, that just means you've got more practice.
Yeah. Well, this is the last thing I will say.
You've got experience.
The last thing I will say that will keep things off track, and then you can get back to your science, you two. And now that Mel's here, there should be all kinds of science going on. But the best display from, how they put up displays in the airport, what you're not supposed to take on a plane, was at, I don't know if it's still there, it was at Newark Airport, and it had oversized bottles and all sorts of other things you were not able to bring with you. They had like a flare gun, even without the cartridges, stuff like that you're not supposed to bring with you. And one of the items in the glass case was a chainsaw.
Wow.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. All right.
Basically, yes.
That's when I thought, all right, these guys have a sense of humor. They're just doing their job. Okay, they got a sense of humor. I'm with it. All right, there's a little bit of a delay. Fine, but that was the
next
best.
to that, they had a rocket-propelled grenade.
Nah. The chainsaw was enough of a joke. I wonder how many people just glossed or walked. Oh yeah, can't bring any of that stuff, and just got on the plane.
Yeah, honestly though, when I see that sometimes, I wonder, are they making a joke?
Well, yeah, because the general consensus, like when you see a sign that says "Do not drive through hedges," that means at some point in the past, somebody drove through the hedges. So,
or caution, coffee's hot.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah, that's always a good one.
Oh. All right, I'm sorry for derailing the show.
Look out!
Back
Look
to
out
the
for
science.
The water. It might be wet.
Right.
Back to the science. Carry on.
So something else that I forgot to mention was that, again, in the sake of transparency, something I'm also going to be making extensive recordings of the time. What else was it? The temperature of the water and the air, because I know people like to, at least people in this sort of debate, like to get their they get really caught up on refraction.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Soundly has some experience with that, and I know it does. I know very little about it, honestly, but I do know that you can get an idea of how much there will be if you take a measurement of the air temperature and the water temperature. That will at least give you some idea. So I thought that'd be good.
Now, are you planning on taking a laser thermometer onto the plane, or are you going to go old school and just use mercury thermometers?
I think probably just a mercury one, or maybe something simpler. I don't know. I'll see what I can scrounge up.
Look, as a hat tip to Jaren, are you at least going to bring a laser pointer and wave it around in the air while you're?
Now, just because you said that, I'm going to.
All right.
I think the laser's red, but that can be changed.
Okay, we don't want to slight any of our flurfer friends.
Doesn't it have to be purple to really pay homage to?
Oh, now that's just mean. But this is gonna be during the day, so the laser's gonna be hard to see. But I'll wave it wildly at the Isle of Man to let it know that it's not safe from my sciencing.
All right then.
Awesome.
Okay, so like I said, I also want to do as much of this at the same time so that conditions don't change too much. And that includes not just air temperature and water temperature, but also the tides, to make sure that they don't, change so much that it could be included as, say, people might say, oh, maybe that was the reason why this or that happened. So like I said, part of the reason I want to make sure that I do certain parts of this as quickly, efficiently, but still thoroughly as possible. Let's see what else I have here in my notes. Something I forgot to mention was that during the can I still be heard? Just making sure, because you two are deceptively quiet.
All good.
Okay, just checking. While I take these panoramic and zoomed in shots, if I can, I'm going to have the camera set to level, because the P900, I don't know, Sizestrike, how much you've been toying around with it, but it has this function where it will actually tell you where level is when you're aiming it around.
That I have not done. I just started screwing around with the long exposure photography, having a grand time with that.
Yeah, that's annoying, I think. It doesn't have quite the control of the ISO that I'd like, but that's a conversation for another day. But I'm going to be trying to set it to level so that there's a common point of reference.
Mm-hmm.
Also, so that way I could yell, it's not eye level, or that sort of thing. Also,
I had no idea that the P900 had such a.
Yeah, I only found out because Soundly told me, is that it's this setting you can turn on somewhere where it will tell you if you've got it leveled both horizontally and side to side.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it's a nice feature. It can be really useful at times. I'm not quite sure how accurate it is, so I'm going to be testing that as well tomorrow. I'm basically going to have, like I said, thing on tripod, a tape measure across the room, see where it lands on that, and then if it's good, then I don't need to do any more work.
There's absolutely nothing on my Canon 60D that could do something of that nature. I love the cameras, though. I have two of them. I like them that much.
I must say, I part of me didn't want to get the P900, honestly, because my first camera was a Canon T4i.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I love that thing. It's so good.
Mm.
It has especially I like it because it has if you want it to, it can have very fine control in the manual settings. That's a very personal preference.
Are you familiar with the older Sony I series? Like I had an i3000.
I don't think so.
No, it's an older. It's good. It's a good camera. But oddly enough, that one on the NASA social where we went to the laser ranging facility, everybody had all their fancy cameras and such, and some were on manual, trying to get the dark sky.
I remember you mentioning this.
Yeah, with the stars. They wanted to get the dark skies with stars and the green laser as they were targeting satellites, to range them and all that. And the only person that got decent pictures was me with the old i3000 on full automatic. It had to be because I was swinging it around so much.
Tremendous ass.
I'm just wondering how many people showed up with their Minolta 35s, because I also have a pair of those that I absolutely would have taken.
Well, will you be doing any live streaming from there, or is it all you're going to collect
Oh,
and come
I
home?
hadn't even thought of that. Probably not.
Hmm.
I don't even know where I don't even know how to do that, man.
Well, if you can.
Nah, I don't want to deal with that shit.
All right. Well, if it does,
but no offense, but I do want to focus on the on doing the sciencing. I was partially considering, do I want a camera filming me do all this sort of thing, but I mean, what's the point, really?
Well, to show that it's not fake, and you'll also need yet another camera filming you to show
I
that
just
that
put them all in
camera.
a circle.
Endless regression of cameras.
15 cameras all taking a video of the camera that's taking the video of the camera that's taking the video of Hill.
If 10 cameras are filming each other, which one's in front?
Right.
Indeed. All right. Well,
but anyway,
very good.
So that was also I also wanted to do 2 observation points, which was the nice thing is that the high observation point, the flat earthers themselves and the globe earthers seem to have reached a consensus on the height, which is nice. So that's not a point of contention. And the low, when I go to this low point, even though the height hasn't been confirmed from a particular spot, my methodology is basically going to be the same as when I tested the levels on my different devices. Is to basically put the camera, level it, and then basically go out just into the water holding a tape measure, or just take a picture and basically see where it cuts through, and then that'll be the height of the camera. So.
Awesome.
Yeah, so and then basically I know that the rest of the pictures are going to be in between that range. It'll probably be maybe 5 feet, maybe depending on how close I decide to get to the water, but so somewhere in there, probably somewhere pretty low. So it's probably going to go, the range of heights is probably going to be, if I remember correctly, the high point was 110 feet, so between that and 5, probably. And what I'd like to do afterwards is, if I can, get Soundly to help me. Is because if you remember the Lake Pontchartrain footage, which he did called the, I think it was the Causeway Elevator, where he animated the different shots from his drone going up and down, and you could see the effects of the curve as it back and forth. Yeah, I hope I wanted him to. I'm going to ask him if he could do the same for my footage when I go up and down this this beach. It's not going to be quite as nice as a drone going up and down.
Okay, so
but it's going to be probably a little bit steadier, and it's going to be a bit more of a kind of like a gradual, with a little bit of lateral motion as well.
Well, and it's going to have that beautiful human touch that you bring to the table, Hill.
Oh, thank you. You're not going to compliment my eyes.
All right, so no drone. You're just going to be climbing up stuff then. Okay.
It'll basically look like if you were pointing a camera at some distant object and kind of taking a slightly windy path towards it. It's going to look, and I'd like to ask him if he could animate, stitch those together for me and animate them. Because I think because that's really what I'm looking for in these panoramic shots, is not just because obviously I'd like to see the difference. If there is a curve to the Earth, which is what I'm going out to test, then I'd like to see the difference between the high one and the low one, but to see all the intermediate steps as well, animated, in that way, I think would be, I hope at least, would be especially convincing, and if not, then just interesting.
Oh, it's funny that it curves so much it touches itself on its backside.
Yeah. So that's all the stuff I had planned. I got a couple other suggestions from other people. From the Globe Earthers, I got, first of all, to see if possible, to try to triangulate the distance to my target, the Isle of Man, directly, and which is going to be difficult, but I'll see what I can do. And mainly, I'll see if I can do like 1,000 heel toes in a particular direction, and then use the azimuth reading to try to triangulate distance to one of the mountains. But that may not be possible.
If I recall correctly, there was a early Science Sunday episode where I believe SciStrike built a very, very simple, easy to create barometer that might help you in gauging altitude. Or I'm crazy and I dreamt that or thought it happened.
Yeah, actually, I'll take a look. The problem is, like I said, I don't want to bring a Mercury is going to be difficult, and I think I'm going to mainly stay away from. I would like that, but I think mainly because of travel restraints, I'm not going to. Partially because, like I said, the altitude is at the high point, which is the really the important one, is agreed upon. So that's and the lower one, I'm gonna demonstrate myself with this this level looking across to me basically standing in the water with a tape measure. So I feel like the range of, I do appreciate that, and I did consider that, but I think I've got that. I think I've got that covered. Because I don't want to do too much unnecessary things as well, because my time is somewhat limited, and my manpower is very limited. So,
indeed.
Okay, I would write that down as a suggestion, but I accidentally just flicked my pencil off into my room somewhere. I have no idea where it went.
It happens. My public chat just completely reset itself, and everybody's gone.
Oh,
Yay, Windows 10, you gotta love them.
I hope something disastrous.
Oh, they're filing in one by one from the beginning of the show. This is gonna be boring. No offense, everybody out there in the public chat world.
It's not you that are boring.
Well, okay, so
no, everyone in the public chat is absolutely fascinating. I love all you guys showing up, and all you gals as well, and having a blast and enjoying the time. And just stinks when Windows decides it's going to reload everything one line at a time for about 5 seconds a line.
Makes you want to defenestrate yourself, am I right?
Oh my, nice one, Hill. All right.
Anyway, so the second suggestion I got from a globe earther was acid. The third one I got was what I mentioned before, which was temperature measurements. Another one was if I could, to borrow an auto level to help with that sort of thing, because that device is literally designed to do that sort of thing. But I don't think I have the time to do that sort of thing, unfortunately. This one was something I was already considering, which is the next one is to test my instruments, make sure that their angle measuring ability is sound, and to correct them if not. The other one is from just a few hours ago. The first one is invite Red. The second one is invite Sean. So, yeah,
I can't remember whether he was able to get the funds together, but didn't Sean recently do a trip similar? Or was at least working on gaining funds to do a similar trip?
I think he was getting funds at one point so he could go.
Obviously, there was some, things.
Yeah, that too. But I think before that, he was going to meet up with Red, or I think that was it. But that I heard that from them both about 2 hours ago. So a little bit short notice. And I think my response was maybe next time. And the third one. This next one was interesting from Red himself, was basically go annoy Sly and get him to make ask him to make a 3D model of the observation.
Okay.
But I particularly like the beginning part, which was go annoy Sly.
That works.
I thought you were. So are you doing a little bit of a tour of Europe in general, or are you just going?
No, not of
because
Europe.
I thought Sly was in Germany.
Yeah, no, just annoy him in general.
Yeah,
not in person. But it was I'm not sure if you're mainly just going to the UK for, I think it's just under 2 weeks, and mainly down the west coast, actually starting in Scotland and then going down towards Liverpool, and St. Bees is on the way. So.
Awesome. That sounds like it's going to be an absolutely awesome trip.
Oh, yeah. And basically, I'm setting aside, I think it's 1 or 2 days to do the St. Bees thing. And then aside from that, it's just going to be leisure. So a lot of non-science pictures as well. Maybe. We'll see.
Send the occasional email or message to let us know you're alive, if you don't mind.
No, complete radio silence for the next whole month. You won't know if I made it back. The government shut me down before I could come back with the proof.
The reptilian one, correct?
They incorporated.
Yeah, all of them. The government. Okay. Also, like I said earlier, I had a chance to talk to. I was at Nathan Oakley's. How to best put it?
Thingamajigger that he does.
Yeah, his thingamajigger. This morning. To talk to him.
To ask when. You know how we get together and hang out for a little bit before we actually start live streaming, do they do the same thing and you just hear the same banjo song over and over and over?
Oh my.
Well, they were at it again. But as far as I know, I don't think so. It's there was a little bit of I just talked generally with some flat earthers there after the show ended for a little bit, and that was nice. You know, I talked to them a little bit. You know, how in theory how nice it is to have a show like Nathan's, where you know the two sides can actually come together and talk. But how in practice Nathan is too much of a biased moderator to actually properly moderate.
You mean unscrupulous a-hole?
Oh yeah, that too.
Hmm.
But anyway, so I went on his show to talk to him and to ask their panel about what are some stuff I could do that I haven't that I hadn't thought of for something like that. Especially Anthony, who took most of the footage. He was really gracious about it. He didn't take offense to me going back there or anything. I'd say we're actually pretty good friends. But he basically tried to what's the word? He was wanted to make it. Yep, English isn't. I swear, English is my first language. he was adamant. That's the word about me taking pictures from the low elevation, especially because when and to see if they match up with his and how they match up with his and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And he was eager and very eager to make me to make sure that I knew to do that, and he was happy about it too. He was cordial about it, which was nice. From Nathan, he wanted me to especially to make sure I got the angular size of the targets in feet. But to make sure I got the angular sizes of the targets, because on a globe Earth and a flat Earth, they are pretty different because of
so I do have to ask, on a flat Earth, how many feet are in a radian?
I'd say at least 666.
Wait, is that an imperial? Is that an imperial radian?
No, that's metric.
Metric radian.
Yeah, we only use metric radians.
Okay.
Yeah, imperial radians, it's a failing system.
Yes, absolutely.
But, basically,
is that based on like Sumerian, base 6, or is that based on?
I'm pretty sure it's. I think it's Greek actually. Base 23.4.
All right. Oh, here's
But anyway, they also stressed, and I agreed with them, that I make sure that I have date and time and location proof, which is important. I think that's very important to make sure that where and when I was, because I want to be transparent about that sort of thing.
Affect the distance that you can see, and unfortunately, I do think that's a big problem. Why a lot of the Nimrods that are even bigger than them, like Rob Skiba, unfortunately happen to be from Colorado, because it is hot and dry, and from Pueblo to Fort Collins here in Colorado, you're a mile to a mile and a half high, and you're looking down everywhere unless you're looking west.
Yes, little did you know that's actually just the curve of the Earth.
It just you see things that you sit down, you do that stupid. I don't even know who it is that came up with that. Oh, this is spherical trigonometry, because that's all crap. That none of that's accurate. But it does make you sit down and go, why in the world can I see so far? Well, you're looking down in elevation tremendously. I mean, from my house to the foothills, I look up at about a 30-degree angle to the horizon. Obviously, everyone's going to say that's the foothills, and I look down to the east, 2,000 vertical feet. That doesn't count, so the distance is manipulated. I look to the north, I look down about 2,000 feet, but over a much longer period of time, over a much longer distance. Sorry, period of time. What the hell am I thinking?
Radians.
But so it seems like you can see further because you're looking down in elevation, but that's not the case. You're looking down.
And Andy, the things you're looking down on at the horizon, those are above sea level, obviously, right?
way above sea level. You know,
they're not
I
even
might be
mildly
looking
damp.
from 7,000 feet to 4,000 feet, but
yeah, and
4,000 feet above sea level is still 4,000 feet above sea level.
Indeed. Now there's the question of how close it is to you and all that, but it seems to me that if what you're looking at is your local horizon, and it's 4,000 feet above what would be the actual horizon.
Indeed, and it's always beneath eye level, always. Unless you're looking, at least from my particular standpoint in my backyard, if you're looking south, it's up. If you're looking west, it's up. That's a general given in the Front Range of Colorado. The mountains go up to the west. The general terrain goes up to the south, so when I look north or east, I'm looking down. I can see further than what you would anticipate you could see.
Now that's a flat Earth thing here very often. It's like yes, horizon drops to eye level, or past eye level.
Well, here, if you want the,
I don't know if anybody remembers, but the very first time that Cy ever even invited me on to movie night, one of the things I brought up was, you're a flat earther, why don't you come out to Colorado, drive to the top of a 14er, because I guarantee you can't climb one. You've been in your mom's basement way too long.
Oh my.
So let's drive to the top of one together,
no
and
hostility.
Let's take a look.
No hostility there.
All you need is a straight edge running due north-south, and you can look east-west. You can see curvature. I know someone's going to say, oh, that's because there's hills, but okay, where's the horizon? It's at my ankles.
Well, why do they blame Hill for this? Anyway, all right, sorry. Anyway. Oh, NA, thank you. NA just super chatted us.
Thank you, NA.
What? You are cool. Anyway, let's see. Oh wow, we're chewing up the end of the hour here.
We started 6 minutes late.
Yes,
so
we did. Yep.
We have about another 10 minutes.
Yes, we do. But just at the end, we'll have to remember to wedge in a little talk about everybody's progress on the homemade radio I asked in the public chat.
Yes.
And a few of the folks, some have got the dishes, some and that kind of stuff. But basically,
indeed, I still have not moved. I have not made absolutely any progress outside of getting 300 feet of free coax cable. That's all that I've done so far.
Oh my god, I'm such a nerd. Oh god, you said that and all I heard coaxium.
Well, I'm not that far ahead of you, Andy. I got the. I told you we didn't have another show about that yet, but I didn't use the one that was made for satellite internet because I thought that'd be great. Think of the advantage, the RF frequency light gathering ability of the larger dish. It was too heavy for the mount I was going to put it on, so I went and got the regular, the small dish, which is more than enough for this project. It was just arrogance that I wanted to use the big one. But
likewise.
And rather than I am eventually going to make a power supply to power up the LNB, but for the moment I'm just using the old satellite TV receiver to power it up. And that was when I discovered that I could not even get a decent, stable signal on the satellite it was intended to bring in a signal from. There's a crack in the LNB, so I have to acquire an additional LNB in order to proceed, which I will be doing this week. So, and everybody that was building along with us, it was nice to see that you think it's an interesting project too. And just think of the interesting graphs we're going to get that show that things are actually like we were talking about when we started this project. So that's my update.
I'm really looking forward to where you guys go with this.
Yeah, Andy and I, trust me, Andy and I have had the conversations. We're going nuts.
I'm sure. What are you going to shoot down the International Space Station or something?
No, certainly not. Those guys are cool.
No.
The having it in a fixed position, as they recommend, and you can watch the amplitude graphs over time. There's a freeware program that'll translate the data you get into a nice graph for you. And my eventual what I want to do is grayscale each of them instead of making just a linear graph of one line across the sky as the Earth rotates. And I want to change it 1 degree every day and make a inside the sphere image of pictorial image of what the sky looks like in RF emanations, and then superimpose that in a program on a regular star chart and see what matches up. So
wow,
lofty.
So the general
that is cool.
hot spot, cool spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lofty ambition.
That's part of the reason why I went the LMB route, and I hate to admit the fact that I went and actually bought the dish that I'm using, but it was from a one of those what used to be Martin but is now not Marietta type of people that I got the dish from. So I did spend $100, but it has a motorized mount on it for its base is an alt-az mount effectively.
Mm-hmm.
So I can do a slow scan periodically through the night with it. It's horribly slow, and its power for its stepper motors is ran off of the coax cable itself. So I've got to build a controller for it, or try and find some 1980s dish TV tech receiver. Well, I think it'll be easier to build one out of a Raspberry Pi, though.
Odds are. I was looking at the Yaesu makes one designed for the Sirius amateur satellite community for pointing your beam antennas. They're basically elevation azimuth, 2-axis things, and yeah. And I changed my mind at the $1,200 price tag for a hobby. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, no.
Oh, jeez. Bo's mad that there's more Yaesu talk. All right, fine. When ICOM makes one, I'll get it from them.
Hijacking my Sunday science.
You know, you're right. I'm sorry, Hill. Back to you. Please tell us more of your planned adventures and all that sort of thing.
Honestly, I think I've covered pretty much everything. I got everything I wanted to, including I talked to pretty much all the people that I wanted to about this. Something especially that I'm very happy about is that I got to talk to Anthony about it, who took most of the flat Earth observations about this. So talking to him about it and getting some stuff like him, like where the exact GPS location where he took the highest points, the 110-foot one. Finding the exact GPS of that, and then just talking to them in general about it, as belligerent as it got at times. I feel like I really covered all the bases on this one, and that I really I got all the feedback that I really wanted to. So I'm very satisfied about that.
Indeed. Oh, and Bullionator just got mods because he says he would probably get OCD about it and make his own mount out of servos.
Oh, that probably means I'm going to have to
do
indeed. An episode about the mount that I built.
Oh, you mean the one that you machined out of? That was on a long time.
Yeah, the one that is like full 3D machined out of billet aluminum. That was on movie on.
We did it before movie night. Before Sunday Science, we did. Remember, we used to do a section before movie night on real sciencey stuff. And yeah, that thing was a work of art. Yeah, we got to bring that back. Absolutely.
Yeah, I will definitely bring that back in. I'm still working on the controller.
Andy, you have so much pain in your voice when you're talking about this.
Oh, programming it turned into a nightmare that I was not. I should have known better. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, what I do for a living is primarily program robotics and CNC machine tools. So talking to servos through G-code, it's an it's ISO compliant, standardized G-code, but it's made for running, 3-axis, 4-axis, 5-axis, 7-axis, 9-axis, multi-axis machining centers. I've been programming in that language since I had to use a DOS-based platform to do so. Now I'm trying to reprogram my brain with this controller unit so that I can use fuzzy logic to build an algorithm that somehow is going to talk to how my smartphone functions with a star mapping app. I'm not going to say its name because they might get mad if they find out I'm trying to hack into it and do something. Somebody else is working on that end for me, but I'm working on programming the controllers to function in a very specific way that a company just north of me in Golden, Colorado dominates the field, and they own most of the patents, so trying to program a way around them. I'm not trying to start a business, but I'm not trying to step on anyone's toes. I'm just looking for a new way of sitting down and programming with traditional languages that don't require any special hardware to function, and it has been a bloody effing nightmare. So I built this mount a little over a year ago at this point, and I completely dismantled my own CNC router that I had built so that I could build it into this telescope mount. And it's actually two mounts. One's a U-frame for the big scope. One's a traditional ride ascension for the smaller scopes. And coming up with the programming is just, it's an absolute nightmare. It's outside of my capacity, so I've been very frustrated and learning a lot of stuff I never knew before, but it will eventually happen. It will.
I have no doubt. And Chris,
I can tell by the tone in your voice, it will happen.
Chris gets a spanner for mentioning that he's thinking of making an azimuth and elevation controller out of an Arduino. So yeah, bravo.
Oh God, don't say Arduino. I have a friend of mine, and he's been complaining to me all year because this whole past year he's been trying to build a tiny robot, kind of looks like Wall-E, with very simple artificial intelligence. He tried to program it to basically drive around a room and then find a box and then pick it up and bring it back to him. And he completely melted down because of this, trying to program this thing.
Well, it's fun. Back when a long time ago at the Robots here, I was having fun. Robotics was first. Okay, the typical navigation. I had the little sonar sensors with the little scanning head. Look pretty cool. And decided, wouldn't this be fun? Let's make each one with a personality. Like one was terrified of everything. It would bolt at the cat walking through its field, and whenever there was a sudden change in depth, 6 feet away, 6 feet away, 5 feet away, 2 feet away. Jesus, I'm getting out of here. That kind of thing. But yeah, those were all Arduinos, and then I had to stop because I had branched into Arduino for the motor control, but Raspberry Pi for the big brain. And then I got the dual camera with the face recognition. I got that working to where it would just go about doing its little robotly business until it caught sight of a face. Then it would stop and track the face, and the little head would pivot up and down. I think I still have some videos on the channel about that.
I thought you were going to say it bowed to its master.
No, it would stand still, but the head would track your face wherever you went. And everybody that had come over said it was creepy. That
is pretty creepy.
Yeah, they pulled a lure. It was too creepy. I had to disassemble it and put it away. So
it's still looking at you though.
Yeah, probably. So yeah, I had to pull a lure. Anyway, see, have I derailed your special enough, Hill? I'm sorry.
Extremely sufficiently.
All right, I've done. My job here is done.
Yeah, I really don't have anything else to say. I think I've got all the the observation, suggestions, and ideas and all that sort of thing that I want to. So now, my main job tomorrow is going to be putting together, in some cases, testing, and then also, doing all that for my equipment, and then also putting together a plan of what exactly I'm going to do, because I have in the order I'm going to do it. Because right now I have a bunch of kind of slightly drawable notes of the different ideas and suggestions that I got, and now it's time for me to make those into a cohesive plan once I get there. So
and document,
and then document.
Very good, very good. I'm looking forward to the output. You're
Thank
not.
you.
You're not.
I'm
You're not
really
known
looking forward to
for.
it.
You are not known for inattention to detail. So I have high hopes for what's
Thank
coming
you.
out of this. Alrighty. And then silence fell.
Yeah, I guess so.
It happens every now and then.
Indeed.
Now, I'm not now, and what I'm also really looking forward to is that even after I come back, I probably won't publish this for a little bit because I'm a very, as some of you might know, I'm a little bit of a ham individual. So I'm not saying that this is all going to be published in a music video, but I'm also not saying it's not going to be published in a music video.
So would you object to not saying that you refuse to acknowledge that it could not possibly, yet doubtfully, not be a music video?
Yes, I think.
Okay, cool.
Yes or no. It's one of those.
All right. Well, at least we're down to 50-50. Very nice.
As long as it comes out as a yes or no.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. This is the most fun I've had in months.
It's
No, this does sound like a really amazing trip and a whole lot of fun, and knowing that there are others out there that are utilizing it, obviously one side for trickery and being a magoo, and another side for no, dipshit, this is how science is done. Thank you for being part of the no, dipshit, this is how science is done side.
Well,
always appreciated, but to be fair
to
a lot of fun to actually go out and do these things. It really is.
It really is. It always puts a smile on my face to prepare for these sorts of things. The previous thing I did was, which I also announced on Backyard Science, which I was asking for people's submissions for when Jupiter reached opposition, and going out and doing that was fun.
Indeed, I was hoping I could help you out with that one, but I started going to work at like 5 a.m, so I'm up at 4 a.m. and
that is perfectly fine.
It makes bedtime about 47 minutes from now.
That's all right. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, no, and also if it weren't for those, it's not even that some of them are dipshits, I suppose. But sometimes, people like Anthony, I feel like he really does mean well, but he just doesn't really know how to do. He doesn't really know the proper methodology, or at least probably the most efficient terminology for this kind of thing. And if it weren't for Anthony, really, I never would have even heard of St. Peace.
Okay.
So, thanks. You really have to. I really do have to credit him with making me aware of this sort of thing, because also I haven't mentioned this, but this is going to be the first real long distance over water looking for the curve of the Earth thing that I've done.
Well,
which is part of the reason I'm going all out.
Indeed. Well, we have great we have great respect for those willing to get off of the couch in order to do science. We bow to you, sir.
Thank you.
Very
absolutely. I wish you many amazing experiences on this journey, and
thank you.
I'm sure you're going to have an absolute blast.
Thank you. I'll depending on internet, I'll probably be sending updates. So
okay, cool.
You probably ask. So you know what? Pest or Strike about those.
Now, are you going to have a preferred medium that we should keep an eye out, like on Twitter?
I don't know. I'll probably send you a Twitter every now and then.
All right, we'll keep an eye out, and looking forward to all of the updates. We'll be following your activities and adventures.
Yeah, there will be pictures.
Hey, what could be better?
Probably mostly of the recreational style, but there will be pictures.
Oh, pictures are pictures.
Yes, make sure you have a good time over there.
I will.
And just let us know once you're there. Try to dig around a little bit for information. Find out exactly what amounts are necessary for bail should we get the special call from you.
Well, if it's the people who I think it is, then you may never see me again.
Oh no. All right. Well, we're here.
Oh, I know we'll see you again, Hillel.
Thanks.
We're here.
I'll get out.
If bail is needed,
I'll break out for you, Strike and his shows, and Andy and those eyes.
Oh my.
Well, I was just going to try and say something about how your eyes would get you out of prison.
Oh my God. Thank you.
All right. Since we ventured into the mutual
plus that long, flush, flowing hair.
All right, guys.
I literally got a haircut yesterday, but thanks.
All right. Do you think we have anything else of substance for our good audience, or shall we wrap
Else
up?
of substance.
There was substance today. Hearing of your planned adventures.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
such.
I'm not used to there being substance on your channel. No offense.
Oh no. Oh my.
No fault of yours, though.
I see. Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. Andy,
I don't have anything else. Does
No, I don't got
anybody
anything.
else?
I can't say I don't have anything else because I really didn't have anything. This was all about. So I don't have anything.
Yeah, I do want to thank you again, actually, for giving me the opportunity to come on here, actually, to talk about it.
Absolutely, and you do know that you're going to have to come back and show your findings with us, and share your findings with us.
Of course, and afterwards I will be plugging it heavily.
I see.
Alrighty.
As will we all. Alrighty. Well, I guess on that
my channel could do with some content.
Indeed, content is a good thing. And of course we're plugging his channel. Bo says I should be plugging your channel. It's only in this video's description, and if I haven't made it clear, everybody, you might want to sub to Hill and click the little bell, because there's going to be stuff coming, and it's going to be good stuff. So, yeah,
absolutely.
I'm blushing.
Oh my. Alrighty.
This is turning into Saturday matinee science.
Yes, it is.
All right. Shall we wrap it up, folks, and say goodnight to all?
I think we shall.
All right.
Hey, probably about that time. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. It's been an awesome having you all, and I'm so glad that you all join us for Sunday Science on Monday. You can't go wrong with Sunday Science on a Monday.
Of course not.
And some people have breakfast for dinner, some people have dinner for lunch, and some people have Sunday Science on Monday.
Hey, what do you think
Indeed.
I opts for?
I was an idiot and I ate falafel for breakfast, and I'm regretting it now. But it was delicious.
Alrighty. So, yep, everybody sub to Hill, because there's big stuff coming. And on that note, have a nice week, everybody.
Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye, guys. And here we go.
So glad you joined us, Hillel.
It's great to be here.
Oh, you're always welcome. You're part of the Backyard Science.
Thank you. I never thought that this little trip I planned out would get so much attention. And so much praise, frankly.
It sounds like an amazing trip, and you're going to be doing some amazing experiments while you're there, so...
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.